We're here to talk about Jill Kidder leaving LTA.
Jill who? She's leaving LTA, the Louisiana Taxidermy Association? Why, Jill, why? All kidding aside, I've written something down because I want to make sure I say this the right way and I don't miss some key points. Jill is one of the most professional, most passionate people I know. When it comes to the hospitality industry, you want Jill in your corner. Jill has helped make LTA the preeminent tourism organization in the country. The bad news is Jill is leaving LTA. The good news is she's just going around the corner to Visit Baton Rouge, taking over from another great leader. Jill, congratulations, and I know you will do wonders for Visit Baton Rouge.
I think what stands out the most to me about Jill is she's just this calm presence. She just exudes confidence, and you just want to be around her because when you can be very stressed or anxious about something, she can make you feel like it's okay, we've got this, it's going to be great.
And even under pressure, she's steady, she's constant, she never loses her posture. She remains true to her character. And to see her bring that into the workplace, but to also see her carry that out in her personal life, you can't mimic that. You can't, it's not artificial, it's authentic.
She was very calm and very soft, but deep down, she was tough as nails. I guess you could say she was a steel magnolia.
But I always say Jill is this wonderful duck who is calm on the outside, swimming along her little pond, and she is paddling like hell underneath to make it all work.
She's got just a natural grit and grace that's just, you can't replicate that.
She's got compassion, she's got understanding. She's a great leader, yet she knows how to lift up the people around her.
She's the best listener I know. I mean, she takes the notes, she listens to people, she follows back up with people, and it's just, it's pure, it's really pure.
She's just so endearing and engaging that, you feel like you're lifelong friends, and that, you may ask a question and, you may be kind of nervous to ask this question, but she'll make you feel like, oh my God, that's the best question ever.
She tells it like it is, but even if she doesn't agree with something that you said or did, she'll say it in such a sweet, innocent, relaxing way that you go, oh, maybe I was wrong. And so again, that's just her demeanor.
She doesn't talk about herself. She doesn't take credit. Everybody else helped. It's always that servant leader kind of attitude with her.
Jill Kidder is a legend, and truly a legend.
She has quietly led this ship for 16 years and moved what was a fledgling organization at best, and probably farther down the chain than that, to one of the most respected state travel organizations in the United States. It's interesting because LTA went through its own Katrina after Katrina. So members dropped, programs dropped. The organization had lost at least a fourth or a third of its membership. They had lost $200,000 to $300,000 in money. And the director had left. He had said, I'm done, I can't help you. And the board was sitting around a table, and a board member had to buy the pizza because the organization didn't have enough money to pay for it. When they said, what do we do?
We were called and asked if we would come in and see if the organization needed to be shut down.
So they actually called me and said, would you come run it? And they called Jill. We didn't know the other one had gotten the same call.
And at the same time that they were talking to each of us, we were both saying to them, I'll do it if Darian does it. And Darian said, I'll do it if Jill does it. And if you'll allow us to go do this, we'll do it together.
And in the beginning, they even said, well, what if we don't think two women can do this like at an equal place. What if one of you is the director and one of you is under the other one? And we were like, no. we'll figure it out. And so we took on a 6-month project that ended up being 10 years for me and 16 years for her.
And we didn't know what we were getting into. I mean, there were no real examples of how, co-leadership happened. But because we had been friends for so long, and because we knew each other so well, we knew that we could play the mom and dad role if we needed to, and go behind closed doors and come out in agreement.
I remember when we went back to the board after that 6 months of trying to figure it out and fix it, and we said, we'd like to stay. And we want to stay as co-executive directors. And we stood in the hall for an hour and a half while they discussed this, which is kind of like, there's some dissent if it takes an hour and a half to make the decision.
We debated hard on whether the partnership could work, but at that particular time, we felt like we just didn't have a whole lot of options, and they were clearly the best option at that time, and so we moved forward.
We knew we could make that work, and we knew that we wanted to do it together. They didn't want change, and both of us were absolutely about change. That for the organization to survive, it was about change. One of the things, and I'll give Jill credit, I came in one day and it was early on, and she said, okay, I've got it. I've got the buckets. We need buckets. Like, what do we do here? And she said, we educate, we advocate, and we promote. And that is still the 3 brand pillars of LTA. When she said it, of course, I'm smart enough to go, yeah, that's good. So, yeah, that was great. Yeah, let me go tell everybody what we came up with. I did that a lot, probably. We got the board on enthusiastic again, like hopeful. And then it just started to change. It started to grow.
She took the lead sometimes, I took the lead. And I think our strengths were so different, that it just complemented each other very well. And so we were able to really take the organization in a different direction.
We saw the success that they had together over those 18 months, and I would say that is where the board really supported them at that point. No longer it wasn't an hour and a half discussion with dissension, with questions. We wanted them to be co-directors. We wanted them to be a part of LTA. And once they had that backing and that base to go off of, that's when they really started to use their creativity and really take this organization to new heights.
When I left in 2016, I was moving on for different interests that I had in my career, but I also knew I was blocking her light. She was bigger than she was allowed to be as part of Jill and Darian.
I was a little upset with her. I felt like it was getting a divorce in a lot of cases, but I felt like I just had to step up, and it was kind of some anxiety in the front end. I mean, any new job, any new thing that you're going to take on, and I didn't have that support system behind me to bounce things off of.
When Darian was leaving and Jill was kind of the person, and she had on this gorgeous pink dress and she just looked amazing, and I was just like, wow, we are about to go on our next journey with Louisiana Travel.
And then Jill just took the bull by the horns, and it's become the leading tourism organization in the country because of the way she approaches her work.
The foundation that she set, I mean, Louisiana's in a very good position, with leading the way with tourism. And of course, she assisted that. I mean, there were many people to credit to that, but with breaking records and visitation and visitor spending, and Jill was there.
She always knew, in my opinion, how to get us from point A to point B. When others didn't recognize maybe what point A was, she was bringing us along. She was pulling us as an industry in a direction that we all needed to go into.
She has the ability to connect with people from all walks of life, which I think is a perfect culmination of what Louisiana represents and why she's been such a wonderful advocate for the state of Louisiana.
So many people, throw around the term like influencer, and when I think of Jill, that's kind of what comes to mind. I think that she just touches so many people.
I imagine that that Jill has very large goals and aspirations, but I think at the top of her list, I don't know this personally, but I think at the top of her list, she may have a goal of making everybody feel like somebody. And so it doesn't matter if you are the car hop and the valet, or if you are the governor of Louisiana, you get the same Jill Kidder.
When Jill has a conversation with you, whether it's on the phone or in person, face to face, she makes you feel like you're the most important person in the world. And at that moment to her, you are.
When I needed solid advice, somebody who could logically walk me through a situation and bring me out on the other side, Jill Kidder is that person. Like she's your, I don't want to say ride or die necessarily, but she is that ride or die. She's that person that you know you can call her and she's got your back.
She's always been a whole lot to the tourism industry, but we saw that more than ever over the last few years. And I think you can learn a lot about a person during times of adversity. And I was able to see firsthand just what Jill meant to our industry, and she rose to a totally different level.
I think the legacy will be advocacy. I think that it will be that she brought tourism to the forefront of the space that our elected officials reside in. When you walk into the halls of the Capitol, the travel industry has a voice, and that's because of Jill Kidder.
We now have representation there, and more importantly, the talking points that Jill has used, I've personally heard other legislators use when sitting at the table.
She will always be remembered as a or the leader of LTA, regardless of what happens, to LTA the next 5, 10, 15 years down the road.
Jill has really helped LTA come into its own, not only by dropping the P and helping us change our name and really kind of redefining who LTA is to the industry, but also giving us a sense of professionalism, giving us a sense of gravitas that we might not have had before as an association.
The most important thing that Jill has done is created a culture where people are heard, everybody's opinion matters. Jill is generous and kind. There's always what's the next right thing.
There's been 2 or 3 times where she's really had to save the association, whether that be after Katrina or during COVID, and she has risen to the occasion every time.
My African proverb that I live by is that if you want to go fast, you go alone. But if you want to go far, you go together. And now that we're all working in concert, our entire state, there's nobody that can stop us. I think that if I could say what I'm the most proud of is that I had a small part to play in bringing the whole state together to work together.